Now, in this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that one speaks about the soul greatly, one listens to the soul dearly, and at some times one talks very passionately or enthusiastically about the soul. And there are also people who think that they know the soul, but the Bhagavad Gita says that even though they think they know it, they do not fully understand the concept of the soul. Now, what is understanding the concept of a soul, or generally self-realization, normally like what we speak? Now, if we could take a leaf out of recent events, the perfect example for that would be our late singer, Mr. SPB. He is one of the pioneers of the entire music industry. And if I'm not wrong, he's sung close to around 40,000 songs across different languages. Now, that is not by any stretch of the imagination an easy task. So always we need to ask ourselves just one question. How could such a person have amassed 40,000 songs over the last 50 or 45 years? Now, this is not achieved by any sort of normal words that we use as dedication, hard work, passion, and all these things. But if you take a look at people like Mr. SPB himself, there is a sheer amount of self-realization in that particular field alone. He would have entirely understood from top to bottom about the music industry as a whole, and they would have enjoyed the process. Yes, it is not to say that he wouldn't have enjoyed the money and the fame that came with this success, but when that recording theatre is on and while he was singing, you could see the passion and the enjoyment he has while singing every song. And not to mention any other things, but only such a person can have the longevity that Mr. SPB had. That is the same thing that could be said for someone like Sachin Tendulkar as well. 24 years, 3 different generations he's played for the country. And that is possible only when you enjoy what you do throughout the period of time. And it is not about what happens outside the ground or what happens outside the recording theatre, but when inside, when performing the art, there is no second thought alone, as the entire focus, the entire body, every part of it is only tuned to performing that particular art, whether it is about cricket or whether it is about music. Now, for this, there is also another example of an American investor known as Warren Buffett. He would have stressed on the importance of understanding only one's own work. If you go to Warren Buffett and ask him about quantum physics, he might not be able to give you an answer. You ask him a question about chemistry, he might not be able to give you an answer. But he did understand the hook and crook, A to Z about the Bank of America, the investment culture or the investment management in detail, and understood the economics of a country as a whole. Now, that is the same thing that the Bhagavad Gita is asking us to do. Throughout the test of time, if we could realize our profession entirely, from scratch, in and out, that is what the Bhagavad Gita calls divine. And when someone reaches and understands their profession in and out, there is no room for success or failure, but just simply because they are enjoying the process and all other material benefits come attached to it. Now, the last part of the same verse. In this verse, Krishna says to Arjuna that even though everybody thinks that they know the soul, none of them fully understand the soul for what it really is. Now, think about a budding singer, or a budding cricketer, or a budding entrepreneur. Don't you think they would also be aware of the same things that someone of the stature of Mr. SPB or Sachin Tendulkar or Warren Buffett is aware of? And how much of youngsters would have these legends of different industries have helped them, give something of knowledge to them where they can grow? But how many of us actually listen to? You see, in India, we have a wonderful culture where we all feel that we are intellectuals. and it feels like a second person cannot offer anything to us. So when there is a person of a stature of a Sachin Tendulkar or an SPB who says something, well, we just simply have to accept it for the level of longevity that they have had. Because there is a feeling that we know everything under the sun, but very few actually put it into work in performing our actions. That is exactly what Krishna says to Arjuna. There are a lot of yogis, a lot of sannyasis who claim to have known the soul, but how many of them have realized the soul? And for that, Krishna says there are 3 things that they have to practice: a strict path of steadfast non-attachment, self-discipline, and more importantly above all, self-realization. Because when they understand the soul completely, Krishna says that Arjuna will not have silly confusions like what he's having on the battlefield. And similarly for our life, we would not have any confusions in our life if we completely understand the hook and crook of our profession in and out. Now don't you forget, guys, it will always lead the way, and all you have to do is free your mind. And that's a wrap for this particular episode, and as always, thank you for watching.